Is the unofficial start to the 2024 presidential election. President Biden faced off with former President Donald Trump in a fiery debate even before the respective parties officially nominate them to run. As the race stands now, many battleground states are considered a toss-up, including Georgia, where tonight's debate took place. CBS News correspondent Skyler Henry joins us live from Atlanta.
Hey, Devin, good evening to you. The presidential motorcade actually just drove by us maybe 30 seconds ago as the president wrapped up a watch party debate rally meet and greet following his performance tonight. Now, as for the debate in and of itself, two opposing views. On one hand, obviously the key policy issues that the two presumptive nominees talked about, but on the other hand, many critical of each of the presumptive nominees' performances, though the Biden campaign called this a style over substance, or substance over style, I should say, debate, while the Trump campaign called tonight a victory.
In a rematch from 4 years ago, President Biden and former President Trump faced off Thursday night for the CNN presidential debate, the first of the 2024 race.
What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
The presumptive GOP presidential nominee, who's 78, questioned the 81-year-old president's fitness for office.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
With the debate underway, sources told CBS News President Biden has a cold. Early on, he appeared to lose his train of thought. He went on to argue that Trump, who denies he lost the 2020 election, is a danger to democracy.
And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
With the election shaping up to be another close race, 1 in 5 voters tell CBS News this debate is going to help them make their decision in November.
The two sparred over the economy.
Inflation's killing our country.
We have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
They blamed each other for the nation's broken immigration system.
We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world.
I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office.
The candidates clashed over abortion and reproductive rights.
If I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
Both presumptive nominees returned to the campaign trail Friday, bringing their message directly to voters.
As of now, there are still several debates on our calendar. Obviously, the other presidential debate being in September. There's still that vice presidential debate that is out there as well. As for performances, again, experts say that they think that these performances could very well make or break the presumptive nominees' momentum in the weeks and months ahead, especially with the RNC and DNC right around the corner. Of course, those debates as well, and then the general election in November.
All right.
Atlanta, I'm Skyler Henry. Devin, back to you.
Skyler Henry, thank you very much. Joining us now is Dr. Carolyn Heldman, a professor of politics at Occidental College. Thank you so much for joining us again. Is this a debate where it was substance or was it style? Was it what they said or how they said it?
Well, if it's what they said, it benefits Biden. And if it's how they did it, it benefits Trump. But I think at the end of the day, voters and viewers are really looking at the style. It's hard to keep track of all of the policies that come up. It's hard to even determine who wins on each policy as they're going back and forth. And so I think, this really benefited Trump. He kept his cool. You could see him kind of getting a little steamy as Biden was definitely trying to pull him out and trying to show the kind of unhinged, chaotic Donald Trump that we have seen in some of these debates. But, Trump did not fall for the bait. He just didn't. And Biden, on the other hand, was, slurring his words together, maybe because he had a cold, but he was in unusually bad form tonight. So the presentation just wasn't there. And I will say that while he made a number of good policy points defending his record, some of his points were hard to get through simply because he wasn't being clear about it. He would be asked a question and then answer something else.
Yeah, there were times when he seemed to really lose his train of thought. There was a lack of coherence to some of his answers. But even if we accept the premise that he didn't do particularly well tonight, it's still June. How much could this hurt him in the late fall in November when people are actually making a decision?
Well, these sorts of events almost never have an impact on elections, debates, almost never have an impact, even when they're closer to the election. And as you pointed out, this is, the earliest we've ever had it in U.S. history. And so the idea that this will impact something that's going to happen 5 months from now, I mean, it's just unlikely. With that said, it may motivate some Democrats in leadership to urge Biden to consider what a lot of folks have been calling for in his party, which is to step down and let someone else take the reins of this election. And the only kind of interesting thing about the timing here is that it happens before the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. So that could happen. It's never happened in U.S. history, but we live in unprecedented times where we have, a former president and a current president running against each other, essentially two highly unliked, much older than we have seen in this political space candidates. And at the end of the day, most Americans would like to see both of them replaced.
So Skyler included one of these exchanges in the story that preceded you, where basically Biden kind of just sort of petered out as he was answering a question, and former President Trump said, "I don't know what he just said. I don't think he knows what he just said." Were there other moments like that that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I would say it's notable that I thought Trump maybe would go after Biden quite a bit more, but he didn't. That was the only moment I clocked where he maybe went after what he's been saying all along, this cognitive framing this impaired cognitive framing that he has. I didn't see, by the way, any impaired cognitive framing on Biden's part. He presented a lot of very complicated policy information, but a number of notable moments stood out when they were going back and forth about their golf game. We've not seen that on a debate stage before. And maybe something more substantive, this is the first time in a presidential debate that the candidates didn't shake hands. We also saw Donald Trump, using a really old, and I would call it what it is, a racist trope, where he talked about immigration and undocumented people stealing jobs from Black Americans, which is simply not borne out by the data. And that moment stuck out to me. For Biden, I think he got a win when he said that 40 out of 44 of Donald Trump's top leadership did not endorse him this time around. I thought that was, one of the jabs that he got in with Trump.
All right. Thank you so much for your time tonight.